the day everything changed. February 24, 2022. Kiev rumbled with the distant thunder of Russian missiles striking the outskirts of the capital. Alexei Polishchuk, a 36-year-old high school physics teacher, stood frozen in his kitchen as emergency alerts flooded his phone. His wife Katerina clutched their trembling daughter Mila to her chest. "Papa, what's happening?" whispered 7-year-old Mila, her blue eyes wide with terror beneath her honey-colored braids. "Listen carefully." Alexei knelt before her, his voice steady despite the chaos erupting outside their apartment windows. "I have to go now to protect our country, to protect you." Katerina stifled a sob. "We've already packed. My parents will meet us at the Polish border." Alexei's military bag had been prepared for weeks as tensions mounted. Like many Ukrainian men, he had served his mandatory military service years ago, and now that training would be put to devastating use. At the mobilization center, hundreds of fathers embraced their families one last time. The scene, replicated across the country, would soon fill news broadcasts worldwide. Mila clung to her father with surprising strength, her small face contorted with grief too profound for her years. "How will I know you're okay?" she sobbed against his chest. Alexei reached into his pocket and pulled out 2 identical handmade bracelets, blue and yellow woven threads. "I made these last night. Whenever you miss me, touch this and know I'm touching mine too." As he slipped one onto her tiny wrist, he whispered, "And I'll write to you. Real letters on paper, just like in the old stories I read you." He boarded the military transport with dozens of other men, their faces set in grim determination. The last image of his family, Mila's small hand waving frantically as Katerina held her back, would haunt his dreams in the months to come. By April 2022, Alexei found himself defending Mariupol, a strategic port city under relentless bombardment that horrified the world with its brutality. The Azovstal steel plant had become a symbol of Ukrainian resistance, and his unit was tasked with holding a sector near this last stronghold. The once vibrant city was now unrecognizable, an apocalyptic wasteland of blackened buildings and crater-filled streets. Alexei hadn't slept more than 2 hours at a stretch in weeks. The constant artillery made the ground beneath them tremble as if the earth itself was weeping. During a rare moment of communication, he learned that Katerina and Mila had reached safety in Warsaw. That night, huddled in the ruins of what had once been an elementary school library, he wrote his first letter on pages torn from a surviving textbook. "My brave little star. I hope this letter finds you smiling. Are you being good for Mama? I think of you every second. Sometimes when the noise gets very loud, I close my eyes and remember you singing your morning song. It makes me stronger. The city here is very broken now, but someday we will build it back more beautiful than before. Maybe you can draw pictures of how you think it should look, and when I come home we will show the builders. Be brave for me and help Mama. I love you more than all the stars. Papa." The battle for Mariupol continued for weeks as the world watched in horror. On May 16th, the Ukrainian forces at Azovstal were ordered to surrender after 82 days of resistance, a devastating blow that was broadcast globally. Alexei's unit managed to escape the encirclement, making a harrowing retreat under cover of darkness. They lost 8 men that night, including Yuri, a young violinist who had carried a photo of his pregnant wife throughout the battle. By winter 2022, Alexei was fighting in the brutal Battle of Bakhmut, a months-long meat grinder that became one of the war's bloodiest confrontations. The city was systematically destroyed as Russian forces, including Wagner mercenaries, advanced block by block while Ukrainian defenders held their ground in savage urban combat. International media described Bakhmut as a city that no longer exists. The frozen ground made digging trenches nearly impossible, and soldiers on both sides suffered from frostbite as temperatures plunged to -20 degrees Celsius. In late December, during a rotation to a slightly safer position 2 kilometers from the front line, a miracle arrived. A packet of letters from Mila that had been following Alexei's unit for weeks. Sitting in a partially collapsed basement, Surrounded by exhausted comrades warming their hands over a small stove, Alexei opened the first envelope with trembling fingers. A childish drawing tumbled out, their family standing before a rainbow-colored house, everyone smiling. Mila's handwriting had improved significantly. Dear Papa, today is my 8th birthday. Mama made a cake, but I saved you a piece. It might be old when you get it, but I told her you wouldn't mind. My teacher at the Polish school says I speak better Polish than the local kids now, but I still remember all my Ukrainian songs. I saw our apartment building on TV. The roof is gone and the walls look black. Is my room still there? Did my books survive? It's okay if they didn't. Mama says we can get new ones when we come home. I sleep with your photo under my pillow. Sometimes I pretend you're just in the other room. Do you still have our bracelet? Mine is getting dirty, but I never take it off, not even in the bath. When are you coming to visit us? My friend Sophia's papa visited for 3 days before going back to fight. He brought her a piece of a Russian tank. I don't need a piece of a tank, Papa. I just need you. I love you to the moon and back times infinity. Your Mila. The hardened soldiers around him pretended not to notice as tears streamed down Alexei's face. Victor, a former banker who had lost his entire family in a missile strike on Dnipro, silently passed him a precious half-cigarette. No words were needed. That night, as artillery pounded their position and Russian drones buzzed overhead, Alexei wrote back by the light of a dying headlamp. My dearest Mila, happy birthday, my brave girl. 8 years old, I can hardly believe it. You were just learning to ride your bicycle when I last saw you. I'm sorry I missed your special day. When this is over, we'll have the biggest celebration. I promise. Yesterday we found a small cat hiding in the rubble. She reminds me of you, fearless and clever. The boys named her Hope. She sleeps in my jacket and eats better than we do. Yes, I still wear our bracelet. It's faded now and very dirty, but it's my most valuable possession. When things get very hard, I touch it and imagine you doing the same with yours. I have to go now. Remember to brush your teeth and listen to your mama. All my love, Papa. By summer 2023, the war had faded from international headlines despite its continued brutality. While the world moved on to newer crises, Alexei was deployed to the southern front as part of Ukraine's ambitious counteroffensive in the Zaporizhzhia region. On June 12, his unit was positioned near the strategically vital town of Robotyne. The counteroffensive had been publicly announced for months, giving Russian forces time to prepare extensive defensive positions, 3 layers deep with minefields, anti-tank ditches, and concrete dragon's teeth obstacles. International observers watched anxiously as Ukrainian forces attempted to break through these formidable defenses. The fields and orchards of southern Ukraine, once golden with wheat and sunflowers, were now scarred with trenches and littered with the burned-out husks of tanks. During the 3rd day of the assault, Alexei's unit was pinned down in a drainage ditch. Artillery explosions sent geysers of black earth skyward as Russian attack helicopters strafed their position. Beside him, his closest friend Maxim was hit by shrapnel, blood blooming across his chest. As Alexei desperately applied a tourniquet, a field messenger crawled through the chaos, delivering critical supplies and, miraculously, mail. Among the letters was a small envelope addressed to Alexei. Even in this hell, the postal system somehow functioned, a testament to Ukrainian resilience. With trembling, mud-caked hands, he opened it while taking cover behind the remains of a tractor. Inside was a perfect blue origami crane and a note in Mila's improving handwriting. Dear Papa, my teacher taught us about paper cranes today. In Japan, they believe if you fold 1,000 cranes, your wish comes true. I started making them for you. This is number 87. My wish is always the same, for you to come home safe. Last night, I had a dream that you walked through our door and picked me up like when I was little. In my dream, you smelled like your old cologne, not like war. Do you remember how you used to spin me until I got dizzy? Can we do that again someday? Mama doesn't cry as much anymore, but sometimes I hear her at night. I pretend to be asleep. I'm trying to be strong like you said. The news says our soldiers are pushing the Russians back. Are you part of that? My friend Alexei's father died last week near Bakhmut. At the memorial, everyone said he was a hero. I don't want you to be that kind of hero, Papa. I just want you to be my Papa again. I love you more than all the grains of sand. Your Mila. P.S. I'm making a crane every day until you come home. As artillery continued to pound their position and Maxim's breathing grew more labored beside him, Alexei clutched the paper crane to his chest. In this moment of pure chaos, his daughter's small act of love was the only thing that made sense in a senseless war. The battle for Robotyne would rage for weeks, becoming a symbol of the counteroffensive's painful progress. The town would eventually be liberated in August after some of the most difficult fighting of the war, but at a devastating cost. For Alexei and thousands of Ukrainian fathers like him, the true battle was internal, fighting not just for their country's survival, but for the chance to return to the children who waited, counted days and folded paper cranes, hoping for a miracle that would bring their heroes home. As his unit finally breached the first line of Russian defenses on that blood-soaked afternoon, Alexei carefully tucked Mila's crane into his chest pocket, directly over his heart, and moved forward into the smoke and fire of a war that the world had begun to forget, but that he could never escape. The fragile paper bird would accompany him through the battles yet to come, a reminder that beyond the destruction and death, a little girl continued to count the days, fold paper cranes, and believe in a future where wars end and fathers come home.